Okay guys and girls, let's show you how to clean your airbrush so it's nice and reliable and will look after you if you look after it. So first of all, we get our ice cream container, which again does not have vanilla ice cream in. We're going to use this nice deep container as our cleaning bath. Try and get another camera shot there if you can just see that. So what you want to do is you'll need some cotton buds by the way as well. I forgot to mention earlier on, do apologise, but you do need these are really nice and handy, so get some fresh cotton buds. You'll need those as well. I'll show you those in a minute. So first of all, take your white spirit, as I say, very carefully just drop a little bit. You don't need a lot, just a tiny bit in there like that. Put it out of the way, and then what you're going to do is, I'll just bring the camera in a little bit more better. I do apologise if I have to keep moving this around, but I'm trying to get you guys and girls the best shot possible to see how this is done. Yep, that's great. Okay, hope you can see this at home. Right, so I've got some kitchen towel as mentioned, and the first thing you want to do is take off this cap of your paint thing. That's obviously got loads of paint on there, so you want to dunk that in the bath straight away. Give it a swish around in there, and then we're going to start from this end of the gun, and very carefully we're going to unscrew the first little nozzle cap, which is, as you can see there, is that bit there. Yeah, you want to put that in your little makeshift bath, squish it around like that, and then you want to do the next bit, which is the second little piece of the cap that goes over the end of the gun there. These have all got technical names by the way that I wanted to give you a nice little list of what the components are should you break them, which you're not going to today because you're going to look after them, aren't you? Right, you put that in there so it soaks in the white spirit. Lovely jubbly. Right, okay, now when you get your Iwar to airbrush, they give you a little miniature spanner, and it's designed to go around this bit here. Right, it goes around that bit there. You put it on there like so. Do not uncrank it with Hulk man-sized force. Just very gently slacken it off like that. After you've done so, use your 2 digits and just very carefully and nicely unscrew that. Nice and easy. Okay. And you want to pop this again in your little bath of white spirit. Give it a slush around. Okay. What you need to do next is you need to come up to this end and start to unscrew this, which again is nice and slowly, like so. And you'll notice on the end here, folks, you've got a little rubber grommet that sits on the end there. Try not to lose that. It is on there pretty nice and solid, but do try and keep that on there at all times. It keeps the nice airtight seal and everything nice and hunky-dory. So you don't need to clean this. There shouldn't be paint in that, and as you can see from mine, there is no paint in there whatsoever. You should have paint in there. If there's paint in here, there's a problem. So put that to one side safely. We're going to put it over there on the table out of the way, and then you've got this this chuck nut, I believe it's called, and just you want to unscrew that like so. This will not need to be cleaned with airbrush cleaner normally because it's nice and clean. It doesn't get in contact with the paint. It just controls the needle that goes through the gun. So you want to put that to one side with the back end of the gun. Right, okay, now you want to unscrew this part here, which is just here. You want to unscrew that like so, nice and slowly with your thumb and finger. Take your time with it until it comes right the way out. And when this comes out, you'll see it exposes a spring and another part in here. Now put this somewhere safe with the rest of the bits and bobs. Take the spring off like so, put it on there, and you want to remove this as well. What I tend to do, I tend to keep the spring with this, so you know it goes together. Keep that as one item, separate over that. Now, very carefully, gently remove your needle, and you put this to one side as well over there. Okay, what you want to do with this cup, we want to get this nice and clean as fast as possible. So what I do, I take an old toothbrush, which I promise I didn't use this morning, or will use tonight when I go to bed. Put it in the white spirit, get it in there like that, and then what you want to do is just come in there and just give it a nice clean out like that. Yep. Do that first of all. Give it a whoosh round with that. As you can see, it's got all the paint on there. Put it back in your white spirit to clean it off. And then what you want to do, you want to take a piece of kitchen towel, which you've got prepared earlier, and just run around the inside of the cup like this with your other hand like that. So you're getting all that paint off there like that. That's what you want to go for. So as mentioned, all you want to do is just run it around like that. And I tend to also dip it in the white spirit as well, to be honest with you. So get a nice bit of kitchen towel like that, soak it in some white spirit like I've just done there, and again re-go around the inside of your paint cup on your airbrush gun. Stick it in there with your finger and just run it around like that. Do a twisting action like that, so you're twisting one way and the brush the other at the same time with the kitchen towel soaked in white spirit, and that generally does the trick, as you can see. And what you're looking for, just inside there, as you can see, it's starting to look a bit more cleaner, isn't it? That's much better. So we're not finished yet with this because you want to still clean it up some more. So all you're going to do is take a nice dry bit of the towel and repeat the process like that. And just go around it a few times. Oops, sorry for getting out of shot there. A bit awkward doing it this way, but I'll try my best. Just clean it around like that, as you can see. That's a bit better, isn't it? You can see what's going on. There we go. Yep, so that's the general action you want to do. And you can see that it's starting to look a bit more cleaner now, isn't it? There's not so much gunk on there, if hardly any. And it's starting to look a lot more cleaner inside there. But the bottom there, where the paint goes through to the needle, is still dirty. So this is where you use your cotton buds to the advantage. Stick it in some white spirit solution in your little plastic bath tray, like so. And then I generally just stick it right in there like that, and just very gently just twist it around like that. And you'd be surprised how much gunk that actually collects in the bottom there. As you can see, look at that. You see how black that is? That's all paint. So we need to really do a couple of these to get it nice and clean. Just like that. Okay, and swap the other end. Try and get in some white spirit. Come back to it and just go through there like that. So I'm not putting too much pressure on there, but just a reasonable, sensible amount of pressure. Just to twist it around like that. Get all that gunk out of there like that. That's starting to look a little bit better as well. And you can also give the inside as wipe as well. Swab it round with some of the same solution. Doesn't hurt. Keeps it nice and clean. That's been the process that we're doing, aiming for to achieve. And once that's like that, you want to throw that away. Bosh, get rid of that, and get a new cotton bud and repeat. Some clean solution on there, clean cotton bud. Go for it again. You just really want to do this maybe 2 or 3 times until you get the idea that there's no more paint left in there, like that. As you can see, that's looking much cleaner, isn't it? As you can see, compared to the first attempt we had, that's starting to look a bit more cleaner. So again, we're just going to continue around there. Yep, I'm pretty satisfied with that. That's looking good. What we're going to do anyway, when this is finally cleaned, I'll show you, we'll put some cleaning solution through the actual airbrush gun with it connected up live to the compressor, so we can blast and backfill the solution through the system and it will clean it out. I'll show you how to do that afterwards. Okay, so the idea is we've cleaned the cup out now, there's no paint left in there. Come in there with a little bit of dry kitchen towel and then just polish it off inside basically, like that. Get a nice little clean. Don't forget the outside as well. Always make sure everything looks nice and spick and span inside and out. It's not very good to have an airbrush that's got paint on the outside even though it's clean on the inside. I like my stuff nice and clean, don't know about you. There we go. So just come in there like that and just clean that end up there. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Yep, I'm quite happy with that so far. Now a lot of people do take this little needle off there. You can see at the camera it's a very, very fine needle, and there is a specialist little spanner you can get from Iwata that undoes that, but be very, very careful. It's an extremely fine thread, and if you over tighten it or put too much pressure on it, it will break, and then that is your airbrush knackered. So be very careful of that. That's all we're going to do for this part of the airbrush. So we're going to put this to one side, and then we'll put our little, this actually came out as well, which is totally fine. Don't panic if that drops out, that does go back in. But what you want to do here, another important part of your airbrush cleaning procedure is this is the needle. You want to keep this nice and clean. So what we're going to do, again, we're just going to take some kitchen roll, fold it up into a nice little square wad, something like that, and then we're going to take some fresh white spirit and just going to put a little bit on here, like that, not too much. Put the top back on the white spirit, otherwise if it goes everywhere you won't be very popular with mum or dad or with the other half. And all you do, as you've got your white spirit soaked on the clean bit of kitchen roll, take your needle like that, hold it like that, fold it over, and you twist one way with your hand and the other way with the piece of kitchen roll. And all you're doing is this, and you're pulling it as you go along. You're pulling the needle through the kitchen roll and twisting it at the same time, like that. Do this several times. Like so. And as you can see, there isn't much on there. There's a little bit there, paint, as you can see, and the needle itself, not sure if you can see this at home, but oops, it looks a lot cleaner. Yep. Now, two things to remember about this needle I want to explain to you very, very carefully at home today. With this needle, there's two things you've got to remember about this. It's a very important part of your airbrush gun. If you bend this needle or misalign it or bend the tip or in any way kink this, forget it. You'll never be able to straighten it out. You'll need to get another one. This is actually what controls the flow of your compressed air through the direct jet at the fine point of your tip of your airbrush. This does a lot of the work and it's very important. Secondly, with this needle, being a needle, as you can see, it's quite pointy and it's quite sharp, so be very careful with the fingers when you're touching this, and always hold it from the end like that very carefully, and just generally handle it nice and gently. Just give it a little bit of more wipe there, like that. Just a couple more for luck. There we go. So she's good to go. Don't need this cleaning wad anymore, so let's put that to one side. Now, the other thing you've got to remember with this airbrush gun, and cleaning this as well, this needle that goes back and forth in your airbrush gun. When you pull the trigger, it basically pulls back on the stick and also the needle, and it does a lot of movements to and fro. So with anything that goes to and fro mechanically, you need to lubricate it. So Iwata give you this stuff which is called Super Lube, and I'm told by Iwata in the instructions, don't use light machine oil and the kind of oil that you use for your locos, for example. Don't use it. I'm going to respect that because I paid a lot of money for my airbrush gun and I want to use it and maintain it the way that the manufacturer has designed it to do. So we're going to take a little bit of this Super Lube oil from Iwata that you get with your airbrush gun, you should get with it, and just take a bit off there like that. And what you want to do is, I'll try and bring this into the camera, just put a very fine little amount, a little bit like that, all the way along the needle. You don't want to smother it like the Titanic's going to float in it, but you want to put a little bit on there so you can see it. Once you've done so, put the cap back on your lubrication oil, put that to one side, and with your last bit of kitchen roll that's on the table here, you just want to really, same as when you were cleaning it before, just run it along very smoothly and twist it at the same time, like that, all the way from the tip of the fingers at the base of the needle all the way to the tip, the top part, like that. And the idea is that you should be able to take your finger and you can feel how smooth that surface is now because it's got lubrication oil in it. And we will now put the whole gun back together. So bear with me, I'm going to go over for a break and I'll see you in a mo. Okay, hi, welcome back. So what we're going to do is just show you how to put this back together. So forgetting one thing, that we've still got the remaining parts of our airbrush gun sitting in our little white spirits bath here. We want to get those out and clean them. So first of all, we take this little piece out here, which is that bit, and all you're going to do is just run the cotton bud through there again, get a little white round, as you can see. And the great thing about it is that 9 times out of 10, when you soak it in the white spirit, it does get all the paint off there nice and rapidly. But I always go around there with a cotton bud like so, and just clean it out like that. As you can see, that cotton bud's fairly clean, and if you hold it up to the light as well, you can generally see inside there. Yeah, not too bad. That's nice and clean. That's actually very clean. There's nothing on there. Even if I put the dry end of the cotton bud in there, you're not going to get any residue off of that. As you can see, that's nice and clean. Oops. So, put that to one side on the kitchen towel like that. Get your next bit, which is the nozzle part, which is that bit there. Same procedure. And just give that a quick white round like that. As you can see, it's nice and clean there. There's nothing on there. Just give that a white round. Also, don't forget to do that end as well. You want to give that a bit of just a gentle twist like that, with some white spirit on the end of the cotton bud. Gently turn it like that. As you can see, 9 times out of 10, that will be clean, and that will be clean in there. And then what I generally do, I very, very carefully take the end of our needle, right? And then what you do, I'll try and get this on the camera. There's 3 holes in there. If you can see that, there's 1, 2, 3 little fine holes. That's where the paint comes out. Just take the end of the needle and very carefully just put it inside the hole and twist it about, making sure they're nice and clear. 1, 2, and just go around it basically. Like that. So you see how that works. Don't put the needle in too far, just so it touches inside the hole and just cleans that out. It's perfectly okay to do that as long as you're sensible and you don't put too much force and be silly with it. You're not supposed to do it, but that's what I do, so maybe it's a bad habit, so apologies. So we've got that bit there, and we've got that bit there, and the last bit we've got inside our little bathy of white spirit is our paint cap, which is lurking somewhere in here. I can feel it with my fingers. There it is. Okay, look, that's nice and clean now. Lovely jubbly, that's what we want. So taking the cotton bud, take a fresh one and just run it around there like that. Any gunk that's collected inside there, as you can see, yep, there's still some in there, needs to come off. Just give it a quick polish up around the lip of the inside there, like so. You go all the way around, inside and out, and then when you're satisfied that she's nice and clean, throw away your cotton bud somewhere out of sight, take a bit of kitchen rag, or kitchen towel should I say, and just buff it up in your hands. So this is quite easy to do, as you can see. Hopefully from the video so far you've picked up a general idea and it's given you some confidence to do this yourself. And I'm as much new to airbrushing as you guys out there, so this is a learning experience for me as well. But again, I picked up all these tips on YouTube, which is why it's handy to have a computer to do so, because it's easier to read than a book. Not that I can't read. Okay, so let's put that down there. Bosh, out of the way. Now we're going to assemble our airbrush, and I'll just bring the camera in a bit better so we can see what's going on. Okay, so first thing you want to do, you want to start from this end. So all we're going to do is basically do everything in reverse. So the first thing you want to do is to take your nozzle cap there, or your large bit there, and just put it back on there. Just get it on there, don't cross thread it, just nice and gently screw that back on like that. Right, so when it's finger tight and it goes on no more, you've got it a nice reasonable tightness with your finger. Come in there with your little spanner, put it on there like so. Yeah, like so. And I can't overstress this enough, just give it a little tweak. That's it, that's all you need. Don't crank it, because you'll break the thread and you'll break the airbrush gum. Don't want to do that. So that's on there nice and tight. Perfect. Now you want to come in and you want to put this part on here. So that just simply goes over there like that. Nip that up with your fingers. You don't need to use a spanner or tool, just use finger tightness is perfect. And then you're going to come in and you're going to put, he says, did I get it out of here? Oh, it's still in there. I knew I was missing something. There we go. It's the little end part here that we forgot to put on there, and it's still got paint on there, so that's alright. We'll just clean it out like that. As you can see, give it a nice little clean out there. And it doesn't need much because it's been soaking in the white spirit, and white's been sitting in there. It's nice and clean, so just basically, again, cotton bud through there like that. I generally give it a few little twists as well. And that is really, really nice and clean. If you can see that on your computers at home, that's nice and clean. There's no paint in there now whatsoever. I'll just prove a point. There's a dry end of a cotton bud. Run it round there. There should now be no paint on there, and there isn't. So there we go. Okay, so this needs to go on the end here. Perfect. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to bring in this little thing here. Now this has got a little valve control on the end there, which all you do, if you come in and you just want to sit it down there, it's got to go through here, and if you can see that on your camera, on your screens at home there, camera should pick it up. Through there there's a little valve, and the end of that sits in a seat. So what you want to do is just pop it through there, like so, and once it's in, you should be able to just basically hold it in with your finger and press it up and down like that. If you can do that and you can feel it seated in there, and it's pressing up and down like that in that hole, it's in the right place. You've got it in the seat there basically. So whilst you're doing that, you then come in and you want to put your bit with the spring there. It's got a little guide on the end for your stick, and you want to put it that way up with the little flap there, with the little seat, whatever you call it. That little bit has to be sticking up that way. Put it in that way. So it goes in Again, I hope I can get this on the camera at home. Just goes in there. And what you want it like that. So that has to be sticking out of that slot there and up against that stick. Push it through, and then the spring just gently sits back on there so it rests. Then what you do, you take in this bit here. If you put it in with the thread towards that side, so it's got to go that way in, put it through there, and just gently, don't cross thread it again, very carefully nip it up with your thumb and forefinger so it's nice and tight. Again, finger tightness is all you want, you're not going to put any tools on this. There we go. So you're now left with that. The next thing you do is very carefully take your needle. Now when you're putting this back in the gun, very carefully and nicely, just, it's got to go through that hole there, it's got to go through there. So all we're going to do again is just line it up with the end of the hole like that. Take your time, and once you've got it going like that, just gently use the end of your finger and just push it through all the way, and you will feel it stop. You can't push it no further, it will not go any further, and that indicates it's gone through right to the top of the gun. And if you turn the gun up to the camera this way at the point there, you should be able to see the needle. See that? There's the needle. So that's how far it goes. Oops, blurred a bit there. Once you've got to this stage, then you want to come in with your chuck nut. It goes on that way, and just push it up to the thread and just finger tighten it. That's so. And the last two bits is this bit here. Again, put that on there, nice and gently. Get the thread on there and just tighten it by hand to about like that, so it goes no more. Don't over tighten this so it breaks. You just want it so it's nice and tight on there naturally. And then take your paint cap, put it back on there, and there we go. And there is how to clean your Iwata HP series airbrush. Now what I normally do, I normally connect this up to the airline and just put a bit of this cleaning solution in the cup, and then just basically put my finger over the top there and pull back on the stick slightly. And what happens is when you put your finger over the top of the nozzle and you pull back on the stick with some solution in there, it will backfill airbrush cleaner just in this area here, and then you can basically take your finger off and spray it out, and that's it done. I won't bother showing you that, but it's very, very simple to do. It's dead easy. Again, just put some solution into there, which is this stuff here, or a bit of white spirit will do. Put your finger over that nozzle once it's hooked up to the compressor, and then just push down on the stick gently and pull back gently, and basically you'll see the solution bubble up into here, and all it will do is clean out any paint residue that might be lurking in there. It shouldn't have done, but just in case. And then you can just basically take your finger off there and just spray the airbrush cleaning solution or white spirit out, and that's pretty much it. So there we go. That's how to weather some Hornby Railroad range wagons. I'll do an update on that, by the way, because they're still drying. I've got some more airbrush work to do on it, but once they're done, I'll show you, and I'll probably do another video on some additional weathering of those. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and hope you haven't fallen asleep so far, and I hope it's been very useful for you today out there. Please do feel free to subscribe and comment, and thank you for joining me today, and I will see you again soon. Take care and happy modelling. Bye bye.